Let's be brutally honest. Most preppers are walking around with a dangerous blind spot. You might think you're ready because your pantry's full of beans and rice, your water barrels are topped off, and you've got a flashlight in every room. But the truth is, most people are missing at least one critical item that could completely wreck their survival plan. And no, it's not food, water, or even battery. It's the things you didn't think about. The stuff that slips through the cracks until it's too late. This video is your wake-up call. If you're the kind of person who prides themselves on being prepared, if you've ever patted yourself on the back after a Costco haul, then you need to hear this. I've spent weeks digging through prepper forums, analyzing FEMA and Red Cross reports, and talking directly to survival experts. What I discovered is shocking. When disaster strikes, people aren't just desperate for food. They're scrambling for basic medical supplies, sanitation items, and tools they never imagined they'd need. Today, I'm exposing 17 survival supplies that are commonly forgotten, but absolutely essential. Miss them now, and you might regret it when things get real. If your emergency plan feels solid, this list will challenge that. If your prep feels incomplete, this will fix it. Let's get into it. 10. Pet supplies. They rely on you, so don't screw it up. You've prepped for yourself, great, but what about your dog, your cat, your parrot? When the grid goes down or you're forced to evacuate in a hurry, it's not just humans who suffer. Your pets are part of the family, and they depend on you for everything. Yet, pet supplies are one of the most forgotten categories in emergency prepping, and it's a massive oversight. Let's say a disaster strikes tomorrow. You've got food, water, flashlights, but your dog's out of food, your cat's litter box is empty, and you forgot to bring a leash. Now you're stuck with a stressed animal, no supplies, and possibly no access to stores. Think you're stressed? Imagine being a terrified animal in an unfamiliar place without their basic needs met. Start by prepping at least a 2-week supply of pet food. Dry kibble, canned food, whatever they normally eat, have it ready. Store it in airtight containers to keep it fresh and away from pests. Don't forget a dedicated water supply for them too. Just like you need hydration, so do they. They're not magically going to sip from a puddle like a cartoon dog. Next up, medications. If your pet needs daily meds, flea or tick treatments, or insulin, you'd better have extra on hand. Emergencies aren't the time to run out of life-saving treatments. Also, print hard copies of their vaccination and medical records. Many emergency shelters will turn you away if you can't prove your pet is vaccinated. What about containment? You'll need crates, carriers, or travel cages depending on the animal. And don't think a leash alone is good enough, especially if your pet panics. Get backups. Include poop bags, grooming wipes, extra collars with ID tags, and something comforting like a blanket or their favorite toy. If you wouldn't leave your kid behind, don't fail your pet when it matters most. Prepping is about responsibility, and your pets, they trust you completely. So stop forgetting them. 9. Contact lens solution and eye drops. Because being blind in a crisis is a bad idea. You think prepping is all about food, fire, and flashlights? That's cute. Try navigating a blackout with blurry, irritated eyes because you forgot something as basic as contact solution. For those who wear lenses, this isn't just a convenience item. It's a necessity. And it's one of the most commonly missed survival supplies. If you wear contacts, not having saline or cleaning solution during a crisis can lead to real pain. Dryness, redness, serious eye infections, these aren't minor annoyances. They're health risks. And the last thing you want in an emergency is impaired vision and burning eyes. Trust me, you don't want to be sticking dirty fingers in your eyes while rationing water and dodging chaos. Start by storing multiple bottles of contact solution in your kit. Not just one. Keep it sealed and in a cool spot. Heat can degrade the formula. Solution expires, so rotate it every year. Same goes for eye drops. Dry air from generators, smoke, or debris can leave your eyes feeling like sandpaper. A few small bottles of lubricating drops can make a massive difference. And don't be an idiot. Pack a backup pair of glasses. If your lenses tear, fall out, or become too uncomfortable, you'll need a reliable alternative. Your $400 0-cent prescription doesn't do you any good if it's not accessible. Store glasses in a protective case with a lens cloth, so you're not wiping them on your dusty shirt in the middle of a storm. Also worth having, a contact mirror. If you've ever tried to put in a contact without one, you know the struggle. Add in allergy drops if that's an issue for you. Smoke, pollen, or mold exposure tends to spike during disasters. The bottom line, if you can't see clearly, you're a liability. To yourself and anyone counting on you. This isn't a vanity item. This is survival gear for your face. Don't screw it up. 8. Cash, small bills only, digital pays, nothing when the grid's down. Let's get one thing straight. Your debit card is useless when the power's out. No internet, no ATMs, no card readers. In a real crisis, digital money becomes worthless. And guess what? Most people don't carry cash anymore. Which means when they're scrambling to buy water, fuel, or food, you'll be the only one who walks away with supplies. If you thought ahead, you need real physical cash. Not in hundreds, not in 20s. You need small bills. Think $1, 0 cents S, $5, 0 cents S, and maybe a few $10, 0 cents S. Because no one is going to break your $100 0 cents bill for a gallon of milk. In fact, in a full-blown emergency, people are more likely to turn you away than deal with large change. Keep a stash of at least $100, 0 cents, $300, 0 cents in small bills in your emergency kit or go bag. Store it in a waterproof envelope or container. And don't be that person who uses it for fast food and forgets to replace it. This is emergency-only money. Also, make sure the currency is current. No one's accepting outdated bills or foreign coins in a local crisis. During blackouts, hurricanes, or civil unrest, cash can buy you gas, shelter, or food when no one else has a working payment system. If you have to evacuate out of town or even out of state, having local currency makes a huge difference. And in desperate times, cash can be bartered. People will trade supplies if they trust your currency is legit. Bonus tip, divide the cash. Don't keep it all in one place. Spread it out across your go bag, vehicle, and even a hidden pouch in your clothes. That way, if something gets lost or stolen, you're not completely screwed. In the world of prepping, cash isn't just convenience, it's leverage. It buys time, it buys options, it buys safety. If you're relying on your phone to pay during a grid down situation, you're already behind. Be smarter, carry cash. 7. Lightweight rain gear. Because being soaked is one step away from being screwed. You're not as prepared as you think if you're ignoring rain gear. Don't fool yourself. Your hoodie isn't going to save you from a downpour, and your thick winter coat is going to feel like wearing a wet carpet. Most people skip this item because they assume they'll be indoors. Newsflash. Emergencies don't care about your comfort. Power outages, evacuations, road blockages. Any one of these can force you outside in the middle of a storm. And when that happens, being wet isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. Let's get straight to it. Once you're wet, your body temperature drops fast. Even in summer, a cold rain combined with wind can lead to hypothermia, especially if you're not moving. And if you think you'll dry off eventually, think again. Wet clothes stay wet, especially when humidity's high or you don't have power to dry anything. Now add in the fact that wet socks breed blisters, wet underwear equals rashes, and soaked shoes mean trench foot. Yes, that's still a thing. Suddenly, your survival plan has a big, soggy hole in it. You don't need a $300 0 cents tactical shell from an outdoor catalog. What you do need is something compact, lightweight, waterproof, and fast to put on. A simple poncho, packable raincoat, or even a reusable emergency rain suit does the job. And for the love of sanity, get one that fits over your gear. If your backpack gets soaked, you'll ruin maps, electronics, documents, and probably your morale, too. Bonus points if your gear includes a waterproof cover or dry sacks. Plastic bags won't cut it in a real storm. Also consider some cheap rain pants or gaiters to keep your lower half dry, because wet legs equals frozen misery. So, next time you're double-checking your bug-out bag or car kit, ask yourself, if the sky opens up in the next 5 minutes, am I ready to move through it and stay dry? If the answer's no, fix it now, because once you're cold, wet, and miserable, the rest of your prepping goes out the window. 6. Pen and paper, because you're not going to remember everything when the world's falling apart. Let's talk about something so basic it's almost laughable, until you realize how screwed you are without it. A pen and paper. Not sexy, not high-tech, but absolutely critical when your phone is dead, the internet is gone, and your memory is fried from stress, lack of sleep, or adrenaline. You can't rely on your brain to be a hard drive during a disaster. It's not. In an emergency, you'll be juggling 100 moving parts. Supply counts, emergency contacts, addresses, inventory logs, names of people you met at a shelter, routes that got blocked off, updates from a radio broadcast. That's not stuff you want to try to remember. That's stuff you write down, or you risk forgetting something that could cost you big time. Here's the kicker. Pen and paper don't run out of battery. They don't crash, freeze, or depend on a Wi-Fi signal. They're dirt cheap, light as a feather, and insanely reliable. You can use a notebook to track your water usage, log fuel levels, write messages to other family members, or even keep a sanity-saving journal if things go long. Put a notebook in your bug-out bag, in your glove box, by your emergency radio. Hell, tape one to the inside of your kitchen cabinet if you have to. Add a few mechanical pencils or waterproof pens while you're at it. Why pencils? Because ink pens explode, run dry, or just don't work in the cold. Pencils work everywhere and always. And they don't care if you drop them in the mud. Still think this sounds old school? When your phone's bricked and you can't remember where your backup shelter is or how much insulin you've used, you'll wish you had written it down. Trust me, you'll need something to record vital info when everything around you is going to hell. So don't be cocky and assume your memory will be enough. It won't. Paper doesn't need a charger, it just needs you to use it. 5. Bar soap. The most powerful survival tool you're probably ignoring. You know what most people skip in their emergency kit? Soap. Yes, a simple bar of soap. Everyone's obsessed with ammo, MREs, and fire starters, but no one talks about the bacteria party that kicks off once hygiene goes out the window. Let me be blunt. If you don't stay clean, you'll get sick. And in a crisis, there's no margin for illness. No running water? No problem. If you've got soap. That little bar becomes your frontline defense against disease. Whether you're cleaning a wound, washing your hands after using a makeshift toilet, or just trying to stay sane after days of sweating in the same clothes, soap matters. In fact, it's one of the few supplies that can literally stop a health disaster before it starts. Here's what happens when hygiene goes south. Cuts get infected. Stomach bugs spread. And once one person in your group gets sick, everyone goes down like dominoes. All because nobody thought a $1.00 bar of soap was worth packing. The good news? It's lightweight, compact, lasts forever, and doesn't need batteries. You can store multiple bars in every kit you own, your go bag, your vehicle, your bathroom stash, your camping gear. Go with unscented if possible. It won't attract bugs or make you smell like a walking air freshener. Some even come with antibacterial properties. Toss in a washcloth or two for good measure. Want to go the extra mile? Cut larger bars in half and vacuum seal them for compact storage. You'll double your supply, and they'll stay dry until you need them. Don't forget, soap can also clean gear, tools, even clothes in a pinch. It's a multi-use survival tool disguised as a hygiene product. Skip it now, and you'll regret it the moment you smell yourself after 72 hours without a proper wash. Or worse, when you're trying to clean a wound and realize you're doing it with dirty hands. So stop prioritizing gear that looks cool and make room for the thing that actually keeps you alive. Soap. 4. Seeds and garden tools. Because your cans will run out and nature doesn't take orders, let's cut the fantasy. Your 6-month stash of canned chili and freeze-dried stroganoff isn't going to last forever. At some point, your pantry becomes a countdown. So what's your plan after the last can gets cracked open? If your answer is, we'll figure it out, congratulations, you've just lost the game. This is where seeds and basic gardening tools come in. Not for fun, not for some green thumb hobby, but for survival. Real, self-sustaining, food-growing survival. Here's the reality. If you're not thinking beyond the initial crisis, you're already behind. Food security doesn't end with stacking shelves. It starts when you can grow your own, and that begins with the right seeds and tools. But guess what? Most preppers completely forget about this. They act like gardens just magically sprout out of the ground when they're needed. You need real tools, a hand trowel, pruning shears, gloves, maybe a hand rake. Nothing fancy, but strong enough to get the job done without destroying your hands. And seeds? Skip the ornamental fluff. Go for high-yield, fast-growing, low-minimum crops like lettuce, spinach, beans, radishes, squash, and tomatoes. These are resilient, reproduce quickly, and don't demand perfect soil or weather. But don't stop there. Stock heirloom, non-GMO seeds that produce plants you can save seeds from. Because if you're relying on seed packets from Amazon every season, you've missed the point of being self-sufficient. Learn seed saving now, while YouTube still works and gardening forums still exist. It's not rocket science, but it does take a little practice. Also, invest in some seed storage. Airtight, moisture-proof containers like Mylar bags or mason jars, kept in a cool, dry space. Seeds degrade. Rotate them every year or two, and keep a log. Treat them like the life insurance they are. Here's the brutal truth. Gardening is slow. You can't plant a tomato seed and eat a sandwich the next day. It takes patience, knowledge, and practice. If you're not learning to grow food before the shelves go bare, you're setting yourself up for failure. This isn't optional. This is survival 2.0. Get your hands dirty before your stomach's empty. 3. Sewing kit and safety pins. Because torn gear doesn't fix itself. Let's talk about something that weighs less than a deck of cards but could be the difference between still moving and sitting duck. A sewing kit. Laugh all you want, but when your backpack strap snaps, your jacket tears, or your tent rips open in a storm, you're going to wish you weren't the idiot who skipped it. Most people treat their clothes and gear like they're invincible. Spoiler, they're not. One rip at the wrong time and suddenly your shelter's compromised, your warmth is gone, or your bag is spilling gear across the dirt. You can't duct tape everything, and even if you could, tape fails. Stitching holds. A good emergency sewing kit should include needles, not just one, get a variety, strong thread in neutral colors, heavy-duty safety pins, and a few spare buttons or Velcro strips. Bonus if you pack a curved needle for thicker fabrics or leather. This kit isn't about fashion, it's about function. You're fixing gear, patching clothes, and keeping your crap together, literally. Safety pins are miracle workers. They can double as gear clips, makeshift zipper pulls, and temporary closures for torn packs. You can even hang gear with them or use them in first aid if needed. They weigh nothing, cost pennies, and can hold your survival situation together one pin at a time. You don't need to be a seamstress. Learn 3 basic stitches: running, back stitch, and whip stitch. That's it. Watch a 5-minute video and practice on a torn sock. That little bit of knowledge could save your sleeping bag from falling apart mid-winter. Throw this kit into every bag. Don't just rely on one in the closet. Bug-out bags, car kits, base camp bins. Redundancy is survival, because a blown seam shouldn't mean a blown plan. And let's be real. When everything's falling apart, the last thing you want is your pants doing the same. If you can't fix your gear on the go, you're gambling with your comfort, mobility, and ultimately your safety. So do yourself a favor. Pack the needles. Pack the thread. And stop underestimating the small stuff. 2. Lip balm and hand cream, because cracked skin becomes a crisis fast. Sounds soft, right? Lip balm. Hand cream. But here's what you're not getting. When your skin fails, your survival does too. Cracked hands mean pain. Pain means distraction. Distraction means poor decisions. And poor decisions in an emergency? That's how you lose. You can load up on weapons, water, and widgets. But if your hands split open after 3 days of hauling gear, starting fires, and building shelters, you're done. And if your lips get so chapped they bleed every time you try to eat, you'll understand real fast how valuable that 99-cent tube of Balm was. Let's look at the facts. Emergencies dry you out. Cold air, wind, sun exposure, dehydration, repeated hand washing, or worse, no hand washing at all. All of it destroys your skin. And once your protective barrier breaks, you're at risk for infection, especially without access to antibiotics or clean environments. Think cellulitis, think staph. Not something you want mid-crisis. The solution is stupidly simple. Pack lip balm. Multiple tubes. Toss one in every kit, pocket, and pack. Go for plain unscented stuff. No glitter, no flavor, just function. Petroleum-based balms tend to last longer and protect better. Next, hand cream. Travel-sized, unscented, fast-absorbing. It's not a spa day, it's skin armor. Use it at night when you're off duty to restore your hands. Use it after heavy work to prevent cracking. And yes, it matters just as much for women, men, kids, and seniors. No one gets a pass from skin damage. This tiny bit of care keeps you operating at full function. You'll grip better, sleep better, and avoid infections that could otherwise knock you flat. If your hands are your tools, protect them like it. Don't wait until you're bleeding to realize lotion was survival gear. 1. Entertainment. Because boredom is the silent killer you didn't prepare for. No one talks about it. It's not tactical, it's not glamorous, but when you're stuck in a powerless house for days, weeks, or longer, mental health will become your next battle. Boredom isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. It leads to restlessness, tension, poor judgment, and breakdowns, especially in groups. And yet, most preppers don't pack a damn thing to deal with it. This is your warning. Pack entertainment like your sanity depends on it. Because it does. I'm talking about low-tech, no-power-nated options. Books, playing cards, travel-sized board games, puzzles, coloring books, dice, crossword puzzles, anything. These aren't luxuries. These are essential tools to keep your brain busy when everything else stops. A single deck of cards can entertain adults and kids for hours. A paperback novel can transport you out of a nightmare for just long enough to reset your brain. A game of tic-tac-toe can distract a scared child when the lights won't come on. This stuff matters. Also, don't rely on your phone or tablet. Batteries die, Wi-Fi goes down, and once those screens are gone, you're left staring at the wall. Paper and plastic don't need charging, and here's a tip: keep it varied. Solo options for when you're alone, group games for keeping morale up, brain games for stimulation. Something for everyone, especially kids. Because let's face it, if the kids are melting down, your whole survival strategy collapses right after. Mental fatigue is real, and it's just as dangerous as dehydration or exposure. You won't last long if your brain checks out, so stop treating entertainment like a guilty pleasure. It's a survival necessity.